everyone, Sam here. I know it's been a while, but today I wanted to start talking about my COVID experience, and I think that, since it's infected every part of all of our lives, this will probably end up being a multiple part video, but we'll see. First, sorry about the voice. Where I live right now is just really bad for mold spores, so I am just reacting in the worst possible way. I have allergies to 30 different types of molds, and just the conditions right now are optimal for them, so it has produced this really bad raspy voice, so I'm sorry about that. I actually thought that maybe I won't make a video today just because I sound like this, but I know that if I push it off, then it's just not gonna happen, and I'm sorry about that. But it's sometimes I'm just okay, I'm gonna do it today, and then something comes up and I don't get a chance to do it. So anyway, also, before I start talking about COVID and all that, I wanted to thank all the subscribers. I never thought that the channel would get really anyone to watch it. I just kind of assumed that it would just be me talking to me. So it is really appreciated. I don't know, it does make me motivated to want to make more videos. Like I said, it's just I've been so busy lately, so I think about it all the time, but I just don't have time to do it. Anyway, so I think I'll start talking about the lockdown, because I've been wanting to do a video about that for some time now. Basically, since the lockdown happened and ended, so to give a context, this time last year, I was a teaching assistant like I am this semester. I was teaching multiple classes, I think four different classes at this time. So I was way overworked on the teaching end. I had a professor who wanted me to do way over my work hours, and I said I can't do this partway through the semester, and there was a whole fallout with that, and I had to do extra time. And by extra time, what I mean is, so our TA assignments are divided up by hours. So you have so many hours allotted to each class per week. They're supposed to total about 20 hours a week. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. It really depends on the class, during that specific week. But we're assigned to 15 to 20 hours as a full-time TA. So basically what ended up happening is the professor wanted a 20-hour TA-ship, so it was divided between me and another TA. The other TA had 15 hours for that one class. I had 5, and we were given equal work. I was like, hey, I can't do this because it's taking away from everything else. At that point, all my other classes started doing grading, and this was a very heavy grading class. There's 200 kids or something like that, or way more than that. I think I had to grade over 120 something assignments. And I was like, can I just do a quarter of the work and the other TA get 3/4 to represent hours? And they're like, absolutely not, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, I had to do 10 hours instead of 5 hours for that class. So that was fun. So that was right before COVID hit, at least in the US. So at that point, I was way, way, way overworked. I was not seeing my daughter. I would start class, my in-person classes, so that 10-hour one, or what was supposed to be 5 hours, was all online. The other classes were in person. So it would be, I would TA a night class. It was from 5 to 8 o'clock at night. And then the next day I would start at 8 and work till 11, for the next lab. And so I wouldn't see my daughter when she went to bed that night before, and I wouldn't see her going off to school. So it felt very daunting to me. And I think this was around the time I made the mom guilt video, before COVID and all that. So that was the state of mind I was in right before COVID had hit. towards, I think it was like mid to late January, I think that it really started, like, people started saying, like, that we might lock down and all of that, and I was trying to run a symposium at that point, too, and I was like, I really hope not, because I want to meet the people, so we invite speakers, and it's kind of like a regular conference at the university, and so I really wanted to do it, but it was looking like we would have to change things online, so I was frantically trying to have like a backup plan to move it online very quickly. I was looking at like conference software and all that stuff. We ended up using like Google Sites. It ended up working out really well, but that was like during the time the city had told us, like, we're going in lockdown. The only time you should leave is if you're going to the grocery store. The only time we were allowed to show up at the school was to take care of our flies, since we were technically essential workers. Our flies, some of them are under the National Institute of Justice, so we need to keep the colonies going. So that was the only time we were allowed on campus. Other than that, you were to stay in your house. So daycare was shut down. So it went from, I was dropping my daughter off at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. in the morning and picking her up at 6 so I could get all of my work done at that time, to me and my husband and my daughter hanging out at the house all day, and then working at night and trying to make up with that. So I was working from like 8 o'clock at night to 3 in the morning, and then I would wake up and play with my daughter at like 7 to whenever. So our lockdown lasted for about 3 months. I think we didn't go into lockdown until maybe mid-February or March. I don't remember exactly, but we were like in lockdown until I think July of that year. So we were in lockdown for a few months, and I remember like towards the end, I was like, yeah, in the beginning, this is fine, it'll be good. I get to see my daughter during the day. I was really upset about this early in the semester, and now I'm just making up for all that time, and I get to work at night. To where at the end, I was like, I can't keep this up. I feel drained. I'm tired. I just don't know how much longer I can do this. It was exhausting. During lockdown, daycare was open for essential workers. Technically, I was an essential worker, but I was like panicking. I didn't want to risk anything because we didn't know anything at the time. When they opened up in July, or right before, like the month before, we were told, we're opening up on this date. You can stay home and lock down, but by doing that, you're giving up your daughter's spot. So we cannot guarantee that no one is going to take it. So it's kind of like the open-ended. We had to make the choice whether or not to put my daughter back in daycare in the middle of a pandemic. We weighed our options. I think it took 2 weeks for us to really come to an answer. And we chose to put her back in just for the sake of our sanity at the time. I mean, even now, there was no evidence to suggest that she was at high risk. The amount of guilt that I felt, especially the first month, was enormous. I was like, what if she gets COVID? What if she gets super sick? I don't know what to do. Like, all of the millions of things went through my head. Like, I didn't know. But, yeah. So that was, like, the whole duration was, like, 3 months of a lockdown. And even though I was super tired and I felt like I couldn't do it anymore, like, looking back, it was so worth the time that I got with my family. And I won't ever get that back. Emery seems to be growing up so much faster now. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting how everything worked, but it changed perspective. So now, like, I'll work less when I'm at home. And I think that has a lot to do with lockdown and, like, just appreciating things a little bit more. And I'll work a lot harder and faster while I'm at work. I've noticed that the efficiency of my writing has gone up exponentially since lockdown. And I think that's because I had to work in such a time crunch, and I still needed to get the same amount of work done in less time. So it put pressure on me to have better skills at writing and writing faster. So I think that's a positive too. I think too, looking at all the positives of the situation helped me like get through it. And looking back, I don't think I would change a thing. So I feel a little lucky that even though this is like one of the weirdest and like worst and hardest time in my life as far as like bigger picture things go, I'm really thankful for the opportunity to spend more time with my family. So I think that's what, like with the lockdown, with all the bad things and all the stress and doing classes online and taking in-person labs and moving them online, I think in the end, there was so much good that came out of it from my family, not so much work, that it made it, I don't want to say worthwhile, but it made it bearable, and I did appreciate having that opportunity. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.